Um, I am here on this lovely Thursday morning working on a blanket. I had a lady order 3 blankets that she wanted to be red, black, and white. And she wanted them before Christmas, and she wanted them to all be different. So I worked on this pattern, and I thought I'd share it with all of you. I'm currently only on my second tube, sadly. This is what the second tube is going to look like. Very exciting. Hi, welcome whoever you are. I'm working on this blanket pattern. A lady in my community ordered 3 blankets for her grandchildren, and she wanted them by Christmas. Thankfully, this is my last of the 3. And this is the pattern I'm working on. This is what it's going to look like. So right now I'm on the second tube right here, and I'm on this little pixel of red. I am filming a tutorial for this pattern on my channel. I'll probably have that posted by the end of next week if all my editing goes well. I am making a blanket, and I would call this like a couch blanket or throw. It's not quite big enough to go on a twin bed, but it is pretty big still. Once it's complete, I will put the measurements in the description of the video I'm making. Yeah, this is my 3rd one. If you go back on my channel, I do have one I made a video of. My second blanket, I did not make a video of. I kind of slacked a little bit. I've been filming for my channel all morning. I thought I'd hop on here and hang out with you guys for a little bit. And let me tell you, I've been burning through some yarn lately. Oh my goodness. I have 5 or 6 craft shows scheduled before Christmas. I have a store that's going to put some of my makes in it, and it's going to be pretty exciting. Oh, I'm glad you really like the colors. I got my yarn from Joann's. The red is a red heart, but the black and the white are actually Big Twist brand. Alright, I'm on row number 60, so it's time to switch to white. See, right here's where I'm at right now on my second tube. I got really formal this time, and I wrote out every single tube and the colors and how many rows. And it's really helped me out so far. I might do that for all my future blankets. Here's my first tube that I did this morning. It came out pretty well. And of course, on this blanket, I am going to do the braided join. I think that's one of my favorite joins. It just looks so neat. And it's organized. And I like how with the dropped stitches and counting, it's really hard to do it crooked. Like when I used to crochet my blankets shut and crochet my tubes together, I would almost always count wrong. Oh, a pink blanket? I bet that will look so cool. You'll have to let me know how it ends up going. Yeah, I thought about making like a blanket that was orange and black for Halloween, but I never got around to it. I've been really busy. I think it's time to break out the drill. Let's speed this up a little bit. I always have a lot of people on my videos get mad at me for using a drill and comment hatefully on it. But most of the time in my videos when I use a drill, it is a time lapse. And so it looks like I'm going crazy fast even though I'm not. But you'll have that. Yeah, I think from October to maybe the end of January is the busiest time of year, especially for us that knit, because not only is it starting to get colder and people want hats and headbands, but it's also the holidays and everything else that everybody tends to celebrate. It's just a very chaotic time. Yes, the drill attachment is so much easier. I love it so much. They do suggest that you use a electric screwdriver, but I'm using an impact driver. I just never bought a screwdriver, and this impact has a lot better battery life. And it's something I already had, so I didn't really have to go out and buy something to go with my attachment. I'm very excited to post this video on my YouTube. I really think this blanket will look super duper cool when I finish it. It kind of reminds me of like barn quilts and stuff, how people used to have quilt barns in my area. That's kind of a cool piece of history. I like when I'm using the drill attachment, since the Addy doesn't have a tensioner, sometimes I'll put my yarn behind the little knob that goes to the row counter, and it does a pretty good job keeping a consistent tension. You do have to watch for knots, but I did have the Addy tensioner that you can buy to add on to your machine, but mine broke, so when I get done with the blanket, make a video. Well, actually, this morning I started filming a video. That's why I already have the first tube done. I definitely do plan on making a video for this one. I'm really excited to see how it turns out. I think the white in the middle will look really cool. Oh, that sounds like a really cool setup, Melody. I bet that really just goes so much better. Usually when I work on a blanket, I have my Addy attached to a bar stool, and I have the bar stool upside down and the blanket feeds down into it. But since I've been filming with this blanket, I have not done that, just because it's easier to film from here. Yeah, it really intrigues me, some of the setups that people have. There's a lady in my Facebook group I made, and her husband built her a stand that like adjusts to the 2 different size machines, and oh my goodness, it is so beautiful. I did get on Amazon like maybe a week ago, and I ordered the 32 peg machine, which I guess is really new. Like, it's a little mushroom house looking thing. And it says it'll be delivered around the beginning of December, so you'll have to be looking out for videos with that. I think that'll be super neat. It's my 22 pins. I use them so much. I'm on my second Addy 22, and I use it at least 5 or 6 times a week. I've been working on like little Santa scarves and stuff. Pretty cool stuff. Oh, it was nice hanging out with you for a little bit, Lydia. I always appreciate all of your comments on my videos. Yeah, one disadvantage of working from a skein of yarn is there's almost always knots in it. Sometimes I do spin my yarn into cakes first, but you know how that goes. So I joined my tubes with a braided join, which I do have a video of on my channel. As for using panels where it's not a tube all the way around, I usually just crochet them together, or I use a mattress stitch. It really depends on like what finish look I'm looking for. But my go-to recently has been using tubes and doing the braided join. With the braided join, you drop stitches off of your loom when you're casting off. And when you drop stitches from the loom, then you crochet them together. It's really cool. A lady named Shelby came up with it, and I saw her video and made my own about it. So if you'll look, right here. I know, panels take forever. I am so bad at them. If you look right here on my first tube, on my waste yarn, I dropped these 2 stitches. And with this join, you unravel it and you will crochet this to the next tube over, and it holds them together. After I finish this tube, I can show you a little bit of the braided join if you would like. I'm so excited for Halloween and like the spooky season. I put little ghosts on my nails, so that's pretty fun. I am working on a pattern for the Santa right now. The only thing I'm running into is I like to make it 2 layers thick. And so with the Santa skin tone, I haven't been able to make it line up where you can't see red through his face from his vest. But I am definitely working on that. I'm pretty close. You can expect that by like the 2nd week in November. Like I said, I've been working on these blankets, so that's kind of crazy. Time to switch back to the red. And I've worked on designing this blanket for a little while, and I totally messed up. So my red, I'm unraveling from a tube I did a couple weeks ago. Yeah, as for Christmas and knitting Christmas things, I've made the snowman, and then I don't know what all channels you guys subscribe to, but Margaret Olander, she has a really cool like snowman scarf and Santa scarf. I've been making a bunch of those. As you can see over here, I have all my little snowman noses. And I've been working on the Santa pattern, doing some hats, doing some headbands. Yes, she is like Margaret. Some of her videos are my favorite. Just she seems like the kind of lady you can go up to and just talk to her for hours. She is so kind. I really like watching her videos. I also like JoJo Juju. When I first got my machines, I watched her all the time. And actually now we're friends on Facebook and talk a little bit, so that's pretty neat how that's kind of come full circle. After this blanket, I will be working on a yellow, white, and blue one. My boyfriend's in the Navy, so I'm making him a blanket for Christmas that'll match his colors. And so now I'm clear down to here. I've almost completed this whole tube. Now I got 120 more rows. It's really hard to find a time that's good to live stream. Since there's so many of my viewers in different countries, I'm trying to find a time that's best for everybody, that's not too out there. Since I am doing the braided join on this, the only issue I've seen is sometimes your tails from changing colors will hang out. So I make sure not to trim my tails because if they're longer, I can keep them tucked inside of the blanket. Yeah, one of the coolest things about knitting with the Addy or the Centro, I really like watching the yarn in the middle before you fold it up, especially when you're using variegated. I just think it can be so pretty. So I buy most of my yarn from Joann's, as you probably know. And a couple weeks ago, they had a glitch in their system where everything that was Big Twist brand was 4 for $10, even their bags and stuff that wasn't yarn. So I made out pretty well. I got 2 giant yarn drums, and I got this almost like a duffel bag, but it's designed for yarn. I did order another drum and another of the duffel bag type thing, but they never came, so who knows if they'll come or not. Joann can be kind of weird with their shipping. Oh, got a little bit of a knot. There we go. One thing I like about using the drill attachment is it helps me keep my tension a lot more consistent, because the speed's more consistent than just trying to crank by hand. Yeah, I tried to go live for a little bit this morning, but it kept glitching out, so there might be some random stuff on my channel, like 1 or 2 seconds. I don't know. I was having troubles getting it to go this morning. Oh, thank you so much, Marianne. My first blanket was very chaotic. I tried just sewing it together with like a whip stitch, and it did not look very good. A couple months after I made it, I actually tore it all apart and put it together again. I definitely think joining is something that comes with practice. You'll get it. Yeah, surprisingly, I think the most popular video on my channel is from over a year ago, and it's making a scrap blanket, and I can't even watch it. I look back at it and I'm like, oh, that was not a very good video. But to this day, it's one of the ones that you guys watch most. It's kind of crazy to me. Oh, my adapter came out of my drill. There we go. So you can use an adapter with a Centro. There are links on Etsy. The adapter I have wouldn't fit on the Centro just because of the way that the handle is, but yes, they do make them. I suggest with the Centro adapter going a lot slower though, because it wears down the plastic like right here on your machine. I think they're about $20 with shipping. So it's not very hateful to go and buy one. Can I please try to translate? I might be able to put subtitles on some of my videos. I'm not really sure how to do that. I will look into that. Yeah, no problem. I really enjoy making videos for you guys because it challenges me to be better and do things that I probably wouldn't do without it. So I'm pretty sure that my row counter is screwed up because now it's saying I have 216 rows and I know I have more than that. So what I'm going to do is flip this bad boy over and pull the tube out and see how it is compared to my other tube that I have laying here. I don't know, maybe I'm just crazy. Okay, yeah. About 40 rows left to do. That's another thing I like about the design of the Addy is these right here allow you to flip it over without doing damage to all the needles and the ring and everything else. So I'll untangle my yarn. Excuse me. There we go. See, I always get really paranoid that I mess something up. I am a total perfectionist, and sometimes it really does me wrong. I did tuck a stitch. Oh my goodness. We'll fix that. There we go. Now sometimes my Addy gets really temperamental. If you'll see right here, it totally dropped what I was doing. So when that happens, I always take a good old metal needle and I try to find the last one and then I just crochet them back together. And then I'll go slow. I always just put it right back on the peg. And that was on number, let's see, number 4. So I'll double check that when I come back around. There we go. That went through good. It's almost time to switch back to red. I'm on 224, so at 240 we'll be going to red. Oh my goodness, look at that. Now it's just starting to fit. My Addy just knew I was going live and it decided, you know what? I'm just going to make you look bad today. I think part of it's the static electricity because I have been knitting all morning, so it's probably not the happiest machine. Let's find that stitch. There it is. Thankfully, it's almost time to switch colors. tuck this up in here. So I do have to confess to you guys, I totally messed up. See, right here, I did not put the red because I was looking at this number here to switch off of the black. So this black is extra long. Thankfully, it's only the second tube of the blanket, so right here, I can make this black extra long, and it'll be no big deal. But that's what I get for talking when I'm trying to work. Happens to the best of us, I suppose. I've got 20 more rows and some waste yarn, and then I will show you guys a little bit with the braided join. How would you guys be interested in like a knit along series where I won't release a pattern and I will go on live and tell you everything you need and we all knit it together? I thought about doing something like that, but then again, I've been trying to work out times and everything, but I think that would be something super cool to do. Okay, since I'm doing the braided join and this is not a tube on the edge, so again, we're on this tube. I'm going to drop stitches on both sides of the tube. That way I can connect it to the tubes that'll be on both sides of it. So I'm going to skip the first two. And then I'm going to count 21 pegs with waste yarn. That's 21. So I'm going to skip these two again. And I'm doing 21 because that puts it halfway around the tube. And you'll see I'm getting waste yarn on all these, but it skipped 1 and 2. And apparently number 3 for no good reason. But we'll tuck that on there. And then we'll come here and it drops these two off as well. That's what we're going to use for our join. Again, I have to watch number 3 because it came off when it wasn't supposed to. So on my live streams, I think you should be able to rewind. I'm not sure. I thought about also like going on Facebook and maybe starting a room. Now, excuse me, I do have to grab a crochet hook because I didn't plan on doing the join on the lives. Here we go. I got it. Yeah, if I start a room on Facebook Messenger or in my group, we could all turn on our cameras and like I could see where everyone's at, or maybe like a Zoom meeting or something like that. I'm not sure. All right. Yeah, I thought you could rewind, but I wasn't entirely sure. So on my first tube, I took off stitches 1 and 2 for the braided join. Again, I only did this on one side because it is going to be on the edge of my blanket. And we're going to line that up with where we took stitches off on this one. There we go. So I'm going to take my crochet hook, and the lady that came up with this, she drops 4 at a time, but I'm only doing 3 because my thing's 270 rows long, so 3 makes it even. 4, I would have to kind of booger it at the end. So I'm going to scoot in here so I can get a little closer. I'm not sure if you can zoom in the camera in a live or not. About to find out. Oh, you can. Good, good, good. Okay. So I'm going to take the first 3 stitches here. Then I'm going to take the first 3 stitches on this one. And we're just going to crochet them. But you see, as I go, I'm unraveling. And like I mentioned earlier, I really like this join because it helps me keep my tubes even with each other. So you won't get to the end and have one tube that's way longer than the other one. Oops. There we go. I'm going to scoot in here. I hope this is a good angle for you guys. And actually, you just do this all the way down the tube. Now, with a braided join, it does make your blanket have a front and a back. So this looks nice and pretty on the front, but the back kind of looks like that, which isn't too bad, but the front does definitely look a lot better. So that's something to keep in mind. Hi, it's so nice to have you on my live stream. Yeah, I'm super excited to get to share with you guys and to work on different projects together. Yeah, the girl who originally came up with this join, who does 4 stitches each, she doesn't really do YouTube much. She's a lot bigger on TikTok. I'm trying to think of the name of her channel, but it's just not coming to me. See, earlier I said something about not trimming your tails as short. That's because they do try to pop out. You just kind of tuck it in. Yeah, Melody, I don't mind sharing it all. When I found this, I'm like, yep, this is how I'm going to join all my blankets from now on. It is kind of hard to do the black. It's harder to see, but it's not too bad. See right here, the black and white tails sticking out a little more. But after I'm done, I always go back and tuck them all back in. Yeah, so actually, it does not unravel beside the stitches I'm undoing. Oh, the mint, let's see. It is from Michael's, I believe. It's Impeccable Loops and Threads. What's the color here? It's mint. Yeah, so it does not unravel on the sides because at the top, the waste yarn holds in place the stitches I don't want to unravel. So that's why we counted to make sure there's 21 on each side and everything. Yeah, no problem. I thought it was a really pretty color too. I bought it to do a baby cocoon and I had some left over, so that's my waste yarn for the day. Now, sometimes this will unravel farther than you are, but it never goes to the side farther than you want it. You do have to watch sometimes, like maybe only one stitch will unravel, and you want to make sure that both unravel, so you just have to keep a little bit of an eye on it. Yeah, I always joke, I wish that there was a way on the machine that you didn't have to join the tubes, you just knit one big long blanket. It's crazy, so many people that don't knit or don't work on stuff like that just assume that all you do is press a button. Like you say a machine and like, oh, well, they don't do much work. Yeah, not really. We still work. Now with this, just like your machine knitting, it is important to try to keep your tension the same all the way through if you can. This tube got a little twisted at the end. There we go. A 500 pin, yeah, that would be kind of crazy to clean though. Could you imagine? That'd be insane. I wonder how long it would take to do one row. That would take forever. Now, I have seen the sweater machines, and I think you probably could do a blanket on there without attaching any, depending on how big it is. But I think I'll stick to my circular machines. I'm not brave enough to try the other kinds of knitting machines. Let's see. Yep, that's 3. It is kind of hard when you're joining the same color on this. That's true. I counted. It's kind of silly. I don't know why I counted, but I did. And with my Addy, it takes 10 times of turning the handle to do one row. See, this join looks kind of cool when it's the same color. I haven't really done it with the same color together before. And just twist my tube where it needs to be. Now, I do like the S looms. I wish they would make an S loom machine. Because I don't know if you guys have seen them. I used to have one, but I don't anymore. And it's made, whoa, it's made specifically for making blankets. And it was crazy. It was like $50, I think. But the pegs kept falling out, so I just got frustrated and threw it away. Yeah, I'm glad you caught the live too. I really enjoy when I get to hang out with you guys a little bit. It's kind of crazy to just like film a video and you're talking to yourself and nobody talks back. Kind of makes you feel like you're a crazy person, which maybe I am. Who knows? I'm getting pretty close to the end of this blanket. To not the end of the blanket by any means, but the end of these tubes that I'm trying to join. See again, the ends like to pop out. So I'm gonna pull on these to make sure I have the right red. Yeah, I don't. There we go. My tubes for this blanket are 270 rows long. So not super long. This is a good like couch throw size blanket. I would probably do 300. Yeah, I love the way that your blanket turned out with that pattern. I saw it in my Facebook group either yesterday or this morning, and it just looks so cool. I love the way the stitches look with that kind of machine. Okay. Yeah, Melody, I don't know if you're on Facebook, but I do have a group if you'd like to go and look at her blanket. She shared it there. It's called The Addie Queens Videos and More. There we go. Tuck that back in out of the way. I just don't like that sticking out. If you look on my channel, my last blanket video, in the comments I put a link to the group. And then it's in the description of some of my videos. I haven't been very consistent with posting it. And the group photo that pops up when you search it is of the 22 pin Addie. Oops, there we go. Getting closer. Now, I will be real with you guys. I did mess up on the second tube. If you remember, I thought my row counter messed up. Well, it did. And it ended up making my second tube way longer than my first one. So what I'll do is install a lifeline so they will be even and it'll be like it never ever happened. Yeah, I found when you use the machines for longer than an hour or two, they get kind of temperamental and mad at you, like they want to break. And so sometimes the row counter will stick a little bit. But this is a good thing. I can help show you guys how to do a lifeline too, just in case you ever need to. Lifelines are a little scary just because it feels wrong to just unravel your blanket like that. But I see some of you guys found my Facebook group because it's saying some people are asking to join, which is exciting. See, this tube just ended up being longer than it needed to be. That's another good thing about this join is with counting all of the stitches that we are crocheting together, we can see if our tubes are the right lengths and make sure that everything lines up nice and beautifully. Yeah, that's the good thing about going live instead of just making videos is it kind of keeps me honest a little bit, because let's be honest, everybody screws up. Everybody makes mistakes. And probably I'm no better than you. So we all just are trying to do our best here. I appreciate all of you guys watching the live and hanging out with me. It helps motivate me to finish this stupid thing. I usually kick back with a knitting machine and put on some TV for some background noise and try to knock these guys out. All right. Yeah, I know. I just love Kelly's blanket. It looks so good. Okay, so it looks like I'll have to take off maybe about 10 rows. So I'm going to do the braided join until I get to the end of the red, and then I'll do the lifeline on the black. So since I messed up on my second tube, my pattern is going to be a little bit different than I sketched out on my grid paper, but that's part of what makes it exciting, is you never know what to expect. So hopefully it still turns out pretty good. So I'm not sure how long you guys have been subscribed or what videos you've watched, but I do have a video about a lifeline. I need to remake it. It's not the best video. But basically, a lifeline lets you unravel your tube to be the length you want it to be without unraveling your entire project. Let's see. There we go. So it looks like I wasn't too far off on the length of my tubes. Thankfully, there won't be much to undo. Maybe they will line up. No, they won't. Never mind. So that was my last 3 from the red tube. So I'm going to do 3 more from this black tube here. And we're going to tie it to the tail of the red to hold this in place. I'm going to lay this out here flat. And so with a lifeline, you're going to need a yarn needle and some yarn that doesn't match. So I am going to go in with this mint color again. I'm going to thread it on. And basically what we're going to do, I'll zoom you in. There we go. What I'm going to do is find the stitch that I want it to end on, which is right here. And we're going to go through every single stitch all the way around the tube. So you pull it apart a little bit to find where you want to be. And then you put the other color in there to hold it together. So you pull it apart and see I'm going to go through the middle of the stitch. Like that. And so what that'll allow me to do is unravel and make it even with the red tube. Just going to go in the middle of the stitch. And you want to get every stitch if possible. So what's your guys' favorite thing to knit for the holidays? I think mine is the little snowman scarves. That's my favorite thing. Okay, so I did pull that a little tight. You want to keep it loose so you can see what's going on. There we go. And I am going to stick this needle back through to the front. Ooh, a tube scarf. I just love the way the scarves turn out from these machines. And I have about like 50 beanies in my stock. I just have so many. Yeah, you definitely should try a blanket. I will tell you they take forever. It takes like 50 years to do a stupid blanket, but it's very rewarding. Ooh, leg warmers. I bet those look really, really good. I want to design a pattern for boot cuffs to where it's not really leg warmers, but they go above your boots and look really cute. That's on my to-do list. Okay, my waist yarn is off. So basically what will happen is I will unravel all this black and the mint here will act as my new waist yarn. If I did it correctly. We will see. See, just so nervous. Yeah, I've crocheted, I think, 2 blankets in my lifetime, and that is more than enough for me. I am not very good at crochet. So I admire you because, wow, crochet, you can just make some beautiful things. I love it so much. Oh, come on. You need to unravel the right way. I don't want you getting loose on me, stupid thing. Oh, you see how, like, I'm nervous. This always makes me a little nervous. See, what we did here is now my lifeline is holding the stitches in place so I can't unravel them. So I'm going to cut that and crochet them together. Hopefully I can do this right. Now my lifeline wasn't entirely straight all the way around, but it was straight enough to take care of business here. So now we're going to do just like when you cast off with waste yarn and pick up every stitch. And obviously this is kind of like a last resort type of thing. And obviously my crochet hook is too big for what I'm working on, but I'm not going to get up and get another one because I'm kind of lazy. There we go. See, we're just picking them up off the lifeline. Very slowly, make sure you get every one. You don't want to miss any stitch. That just leads to disaster. I'm sorry this isn't like the best camera angle right now. I know it's kind of fuzzy, but there we go. Okay, yeah, this would be a lot easier with a small crochet hook. So I'm going to grab a smaller one real quick so I can finish that up faster. Okay, here we go. This, voila. Like the big hook never happened. This is kind of chaotic looking when you do it with a lifeline. But like I said, it's more of a last resort, oh crap, I screwed up type of thing. Hopefully you can make out what I'm doing well enough. Pick that back up. It seems like every time I go to record a video or I go live, always mess something up. It never fails. But that's just how it goes, I guess. So close. Okay. Please don't let this intimidate you if you're trying to think about a blanket. Like I said, my counter just messed up and it kind of threw everything for a bad course of action. So we're getting through it. And tuck the insides, inside. This is almost like picking up stuff from waste yarn, just a little bit harder. Oh, that last stitch is really in there. Come on. Okay, I'll pull that a little loose. Got it. Good. So since this isn't the end that my tail was on from my tube, I am going to cheat a little bit and cut some of this black. Put it on my hook like that. Pull through on the hook, pull all the way through, and that makes a knot that holds it. So now you should just be able to pull out your lifeline like so. Oh, the yarn needle's still on it. Oops. And then you're going to give everything a good tug to make sure you picked everything up, but I think I did. And now my 2 tubes are the same length, and I'm ready to move on, thankfully. So I will show you for comparison. I'll go up here to the top of my 2 tubes. I'll show you how much easier it is to close with waste yarn than that awful lifeline. So usually you want to fold your tube in half and find the middle and make sure you have the same on each side. But since we are doing the braided join, we have these 2 dropped right here. So we know that these 2 go together without trying to fold it in half and straighten everything up. And I know I crochet wrong. I get told that all the time. My grandma taught me, and she's actually left-handed with her crochet. So I never learned right, and I've never been much good at it, but I can crochet enough to get the job done. Let's put it that way. I picked all those up, so I'm gonna find my white tail here. And then the fun part, you get to unravel all of your waste yarn. And see, that's a lot cleaner than my clothes with the lifeline. A lot faster, a lot easier, no issues. That's how it should go. But we performed surgery and it came out fine. So I have my first 2 tubes joined. That's the front of the join, obviously. Yes. Thankfully, I didn't mess up both ends of this, but you'll see here my lifeline clothes versus my regular clothes. I do have a little bit of bulkiness right here where I messed up, but it's not too bad. I'll fold those together. And it's time to work on my 3rd tube. So these are the 2 tubes I just joined. This is the one I'm about to make. Exciting. I have waste yarn everywhere just from messing up. I got a nice big pile here. Let's zoom back out. Whoa, that's not zooming out. There we go. Gee, this thing is very, very touchy. Okay, so back to the beginning again, starting another tube. Yeah, I really like the way the braided join looks too. And just like without my braided join, I may not have been able to tell my tubes were 2 different lengths. I would have just thought I screwed up connecting them. So it is good for catching mistakes like that as well. Go ahead and move these out of my way. I'll take my scissors and my little tube 3 paper right here so I can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to start with 60 rows of black. I don't think this is going to last for 60 rows. Gonna have to switch to my other skein. I do leave a tail that's decently long just so I can crochet together the end of my tubes. Now I'm pretty far in. Grab my drill. And I'm looking at this, and I really like the way that mint and the black look together. So I hope you guys don't mind, but I think I'm going to switch up the plan here and just make a headband. Because I think that a mint and black headband would look really cool. I think my drill's starting to die. Okay. So since I totally just randomly changed my mind to do a headband, at 45 rows I'm going to switch to the mint, which I'm pretty close. Oh, also, just a random fun fact, but this hole right here is perfect for putting a yarn needle in. That blew my mind when I first figured that out. I was like, wow. Let's unravel this here. See, you always get to the end of the skein and they feel the need to make it a huge knot. Ugh. It's like, why do we pay for this? You know, sometimes, especially the skeins that I get that are the worst for knotting is Red Heart with Love. Oh my goodness. Those are the most knotted skeins I have ever seen in my life. All right. Let's switch to my other black. I hate at the beginning of a skein how tight the tension is. You always have to fight it a little bit. I always triple knot everything inside of a tube, just to be double sure. I don't know what I'm even saying. I'm sorry. Yeah, it is so annoying when you get big knots in a yarn. I just hate that. That's one thing I always caution people about with this, like, I don't know, using the machines and everything. You always have to be super careful for knots, because one good knot and the drill attachment could kill your machine when they meet each other, you know? Yeah, I really like that I decided to switch to making a headband. These look so cool together. I don't know why I didn't think of that before. I'm at 65 rows, so we're getting kind of close. Arm's getting a little tired. Hi! I'm so excited to have you on my live, Rover, and I hope that you can learn something, and I appreciate you checking out my channel. Alright, I'm at 80, so I have 10 more rows. It always seems like the last rows are the longest rows. Oh, that is so exciting. That's a good husband. You better keep him if he bought you a knitting machine. When your machine does come, you can look on my channel. I have all kinds of tutorials. Also, JoJo Juju, she has a lot of tutorials on hers. Diana Levine, there are just so many wonderful creators out there that have so many tutorials. You'll be knitting for weeks. You might want to take some days off work, you know, some sick days. Just hang out with your knitting machine. Oh, retired. That's even better. You can just knit all the time. I think that when you get a new knitting machine, it could come with a label warning you that it's really addictive. Like, you'll have no clue until you catch on and you just want to knit all the time. It's so fulfilling to be able to work on a project and finish it so fast and see your progress. It's very satisfying. Okay. Close up this tube real quick and finish my headband. Did I plan on making a headband today? No, not really. Yeah, I definitely suggest when you are closing tubes to use a smaller crochet hook. I like to use a big crochet hook for the braided join like I did earlier, but usually when closing your tubes, the smaller the better. I always like doing the cast off side first because it's so much easier to unravel a waist yarn on this side. And when you are closing, you want to make sure you have your tails outside of your tube. All right, we are almost to the end of this tube, and we are just going to tie it off with our tail that we left. Now, with the headband, you want to leave a really long tail. That way you can sew the headband together the way it needs to be. So we're going to pull this tail and unravel our waist yarn. See, it's so satisfying to just pull your waist yarn off so easily. Now, we are going to go to the other side and do the same thing. All right. So we're going to straighten this out to make sure we find the edge. I hit it just right with the last time, so hopefully I get it this time too. And we are going to do the same thing, just crocheting this shut. All right. Now, after I finish this headband, I am going to hop off the live. I do have to continue filming for the blanket and do some other stuff today. I wish I could just stay on here and knit all day, but that's not really realistic. Yeah, this mint color is really pretty. I think it'd look cool to have this in a blanket. I wish I would have bought more of it. Now, since when I originally cast it on for this, I didn't think I was going to make a headband. The tail for this black is shorter, but I can still make it work since the tail for the mint is long. It is preferable to have two long tails, though. Oops. There it is. Sometimes it gets a little convoluted when you get towards the end. Okay, so with your cast on waist yarn, it doesn't just pull apart. You'll see that this line goes through all the loops. You just want to pull that. And then after you pull that out all the way around, it'll unravel just like your cast on. Perfect. There we go. Okay, so before I start sewing together my headbands, I always take the two ends. Oh, yes, I agree with you. Trying to get the cast on waist yarn off sucks so bad. But with everything, you just gotta work on it and it'll come to you eventually. So the way I learned to do the closure on the headbands is you fold these together to make an S and you hold them like that. And then you want to go through all 6 layers every time. So here we went through 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I am working this black through here, but it's not quite as long as the mint. So I probably won't be able to use it the whole time, but we're getting close. So at this point, I am going to take the black off of my needle. And I always do this, that way you have something to tie your other one to when you're done. I'll show you what I mean. So I'm going to go through a couple more times. Make sure this is nice and secure. We don't want this coming undone on anybody's head. That would just stink so badly. So my black is over here. I am going to go through one more time with my mint so they're on opposite sides. Yes, you can make so many different things. You will see there are just an unlimited number of projects. So I'm tying these two together. I'm going to put them both back on my needle. Maybe. Gee, come on, mint. There you go. Okay. So we're going to tuck into this headband like so. Pull it tight in there, and then we're going to trim it. When you pull your headband, the end will go in there. You flip it around, and there she is. I think that's my favorite headband closure, and I really like the way these colors ended up together. So that was a good impromptu move, I suppose. So I appreciate you guys hanging out with me for the past almost hour and a half. I was able to finish this tube, do a lifeline. It's been a crazy ride. I did not expect to do this much. Yeah, I did make a sweater on my Addy, and it took me, I think, 5 hours. I'm not really too happy with it. I've only worn it once or twice. But you can't really get rid of it. It's your first one. But maybe someday I'll work on a pattern and share it with you guys. Who knows? So I am going to hop off now. I hope that you all have a lovely day. And I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Have a good day, everyone.